Okay, so what on earth is going on in the world today?
As you'll see behind me, the 40-foot pub on Wordsworth Road is currently closed. The doors and the windows are currently boarded up, and it's understood that it's been closed since Boxing Day.
Ooh, more on that later. But first thing is first, right? We're going to take a look at the big story. Okay, we're going to take on a big story on the Daniel Boland show today. We're going to talk about this man, Jeffrey. Do you know Jeffrey Epstein? Don't blame yourself if you don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is. Nobody seems to know who Jeffrey Epstein is, really. From as far as I can tell, he was a do-gooder, a philanthropist, right? And unfortunately, a couple of years ago, he got taken into prison because he got involved with a few wrong-uns. And while he was in prison, something happened. Someone died. He died. He got tangled up in his bed sheets or something and choked himself to death, right? And wouldn't you know it, the cameras in the prison weren't working just at the moment when he died. It's so annoying, isn't it? You know? Anyway, in today's video, we're going to try and get to the bottom of what it was Jeffrey Epstein was trying to do for humanity before his unfortunate bedsheet accident. Okay?
Simply claiming something is a conspiracy theory doesn't necessarily make it false. Not anymore.
Conspiracy theories? I thought we were here to discuss the unfortunate and untimely demise of philanthropist Jeffrey Epstein.
And the more that comes out about Epstein, including still very mysterious circumstances surrounding his death in custody, means that I'm willing to at least consider alternative narratives other than the one being fed to us through official channels. Now, joining me now is the author and investigative journalist.
One of my peers on the Piers Morgan show, a fellow investigative journalist.
Vicky Ward, the author of War Against the Jews.
George Galloway.
And Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz.
Look at Eric Weinstein's terrified little face there. He thinks everyone's going to think he's Alan Dershowitz because Douglas Murray, the noob, isn't reading the autocue in sync with the cameras, right? And it made it look like he was Alan Dershowitz.
The author of War Against the Jews, and Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, and the man I mentioned in my monologue, physicist and podcaster, Eric Weinstein.
Now, the three guests that Douglas Murray has on his segment here are all people who have come into contact with Jeffrey Epstein over the years, personally. And unfortunately, you know, for as much as we can say Jeffrey's heart was in the right place with all his philanthropy and stuff, they paint a much more complicated picture. He was, I guess like all heroes, he was flawed. Okay, so let's just hear them out.
You know, Jeffrey Epstein was a formidable person to write about. You know, he threatened me. I was pregnant with my children, and he told me that if he didn't like what I wrote, he would have a witch doctor place a curse on my unborn children.
Jesus Christ. It's just I can relate as an investigative journalist myself. I know that is our worst nightmare, that one of the people we're reporting on, you know, as candidly and as honestly as we can, and they want to get the heat off themselves because we're so goddamn thorough in our research, that they hire some mercenary witch doctor to put a curse on our kids. I mean, the kids, leave the kids out of it, please.
This didn't stop me from reporting the absolute best that I could. And
I'm sorry. I think sometimes you pedestrians, you don't appreciate what us investigative journalists go through, all the threats, the insinuations. I didn't want to talk about this, but I feel emboldened by this woman. A few months ago, I made a video about Melanie Sykes. Do you remember Melanie Sykes from the Des O'Connor, Des and Mel, the Boddingtons adverts? Well, I made a video about how she, in her 50s, now in her 50s, has discovered that she has autism and Tourette's and agoraphobia and claustrophobia and several other mental disorders. All of this after a very successful acting, modelling and presenting career. She's discovered this as a sexy older woman with lots of friends and family and a perfectly, apparently happy life. She's discovered that she's absolutely mental. And I looked into that. That's all I did. I just, made a little video, and I promised that there would be a second part where I'd do a deep dive into Melanie Sykes' illnesses. Now, I don't know if it was Melanie, but somebody messaged me on Instagram. And they said that they'd bought a toy dog and they were sticking pins in its throat. My dog has had an incessant cough ever since. All the time. I'll go, Leo, what's the matter? They don't know what's wrong with him. But I soldiered on. They didn't stop me making that thoroughly researched second part about Melanie Sykes. I sat through that entire podcast with Alan Carr that Melanie Sykes did. And, yeah, I'm just saying. We're not scared. We will not be intimidated. Not by Jeffrey Epstein. Not by you, Melanie Sykes. Fuck you.
Thank you, Vicky. Can I just come next to Alan Dershowitz? Thank you so much, Professor Dershowitz, for being with us. First of all, of course, you were Epstein's lawyer at one point, and you were also named in these released documents today. How do you respond to this?
Well, first of all, the woman who accused me has now admitted that she may have confused me with someone else, may have been a case of mistaken identity, and she's dropped all of her legal charges.
Yeah, because you probably threatened to turn her into a newt if she didn't, you evil wizard.
From the day I met Jeffrey Epstein till the day he died, I have had sexual contact with one woman and one woman only, my wife.
Lucky lady.
Let me bring in Eric Weinstein, who's been patiently waiting in LA. Eric, we heard earlier a bit of your description of Jeffrey Epstein. You met him once more than 20 years ago.
He was a very strange person from beginning to end. I don't really believe
when you say that he was a strange person, I mean, describe some of the things that were odd in that first meeting, that one meeting you had.
Sure. I don't hear anyone mention the fact that he used an American flag as a tablecloth, making his dinner table look like both a coffin and a trap for you to stain the flag of your own country.
I know, everyone's all sex trafficking this, underage that. What about the American flag as a tablecloth, eh?
He brought in a woman who I think he introduced as an heiress who was braless, that he bounced on his leg at a financial meeting in an attempt to create a distraction.
Which caused me to soil my pants with ejaculate.
And, the whole thing was like a scene out of a movie, and you both wanted to be nowhere close and to know everything about it. And I walked out of there, called my wife and said,
honey, I need you to meet me at the airport with a clean change of clothes. Yes, it happened again.
I just met a human being who does not appear to be a normal human being. He appears to be a construct.
But why did that make you cum in your pants?
It just did. Okay, I'll explain later.
What you were saying before the break, what is the actual allegation you're making? Who do you think Jeffrey Epstein actually was?
If you have to speculate, I would say that he probably belonged to covert operations for one or more nations, and that what we're looking at is a very strange, you can shake your head, Alan, but it's also the case that I don't necessarily believe that you stopped associating with him personally at the time of his conviction in Florida, because I think there are pictures of you at the Program for Evolutionary Dynamics, socializing with Pinker, Trivers. I don't know. You tell me.
I'm going to have to go back to Alan Dershowitz on that. Alan Dershowitz.
So, after those thrilling testimonies, we're none the wiser as to who this philanthropist Jeffrey Epstein really was, or what he really wanted. Now, a lot of people want me to talk about Meghan Markle, naturally, and whether she was, because of Epstein Island having yachts and girls, and there are photos of Meghan Markle on yachts, and she is a girl, whether she was one of the yacht girls, you know, that were hired to do philanthropy on Epstein Island. Now, when there's more evidence that comes out, we'll go into that in more depth. But I want to look at a little segment that James O'Brien had today on his LBC radio show yesterday, whatever it was, whenever this video comes out. And he was talking about the way we interact, the way we react to stories about Meghan Markle. He had some really riveting insight, as he often does James O'Brien. Let's give it a listen.
When you say, why has Harry ended up with such a kicking from the media, the idea that it's his own fault.
No, 1,000 times, no.
For refusing to dance to the media's tune, for writing his own books, for putting his own side of the story.
Suddenly, all over the water, heads were bobbing up, singing to her. A seal opera.
And you say, well, he gives all these interviews. Andrew gave an interview to Emily Maitlis in which his entire life was sort of falling about his feet by the end of it.
Ryan's sitting there, he's the chicken farmer, he's wearing ostrich boots.
And he stood up and walked away thinking he'd played a blind. I mean, it just doesn't hold. It is, of all the subjects we cover together on the radio, the one that I think most illustrates the subtle ways in which the media infects the way we think is this one. Because so many people who would ordinarily know much better and have quite a clear line on things are absolutely persuaded that Harry and Meghan are the wrong uns.
Oh, I see how it is, James O'Brien. Everyone who doesn't agree with you and your urban Jesus bum-chums is a filthy gammon.
And that the royal family as it is, or Kate and William, or even Andrew Windsor, that they're the good guys. It's extraordinary, and it hasn't happened by accident. It is the best example, with the possible exception of Brexit, it is the best example of media gaslighting that I have witnessed in my life. And speaking of Brexit, find me someone that hates Harry and Meghan, but can't really tell you why, except something, loyalty something, and I'll find you someone that voted for Brexit.
Okay, homework for all of you. You have to go and leave comments on all of James O'Brien's videos, right? And they've all got to be something, Brexit, heart thing, anything like that, just something really annoying. Wind him up, okay? I want him seriously wound up, that James O'Brien fella. He thinks he's better than us, does he? Anyway, we'll be keeping a lookout for that yacht mistress. Well, we'll see. We need more evidence, clearly. Nobody knows no one knows what's going on, all right? That's what you should take away from today's video. Something, Brexit, all right? I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.
We've spoken to some locals to ask what their views are of the pub. I gather the 40-foot here on Herries Road has closed. What's your reaction, guys?
It's going to be disappointing for them at match days.
Yeah, because it's
with the local first point meeting for all fans. This is the pub where you go at match day. This is where it all starts.
Around here as well.
It's all this area, all Parsons Cross, all
everyone uses it, isn't there?
Everybody just gets packed. This road, you can't see one bit of this road, but it calls what's parked on it. Even grass, all grass ranges, everything, all parked. All the way up to I can see, all the way up there, all the way down that road everywhere.
Is it a pub, a pub that you like?
I used to go in on odd days, but it's like, it's a local pub, you know, for old people and that at night time.
I can't really have a bar.
So obviously, with locals and that, it's a certain type of customer at night time. We usually match days and that when it got busy on it.
I got young busy.
All who's a big match thing for Max.
Do you hope it reopens, both of you?
I think it will open. It's just that I know the landlord before, and all it is he's moved abroad. He's moved on. You know what I mean? He's gone to better himself. Good luck to the guy.
But you hope it opens again?
Yeah, I used to do his work, and I used to do all this, picking up bits of weed out and that from the side of the wall. No, I used to do it. I used to do up that glass end and that front end. So yeah, it's going to be missed. Good family, nice family.